Good morning. Welcome to Adult Bible Class in New Life Community Church. All of you who are online, we welcome you to our class, and we trust it will be a blessing for you today. We are in a series on the Sermon on the Mount, and when I get in a series like this, it actually extends out, and we have various interruptions, such as last week was for the 4th of July, and then there's weeks that Glenn teaches. So it goes on for quite a while, but we had the Beatitudes. Those are, of course, in the Sermon on the Mount, and then we had the lesson on the salt, where he said, "You're salt and light." Today we come to, don't move it, I just need to grab one of these, and you can grab the others and pass them out. We have these folders that I like to use. I basically don't teach from the folder. They are for your benefit when you're home and studying. And I want to mention this while we're online. If anyone who is watching online, if you would like one of these, just ask me. As long as my supply lasts, I will be happy to send you one. It's a folder that folds out like this with, I don't know how many pages they are. 13, I guess. 14 with the cover. And it's all about the Sermon on the Mount. And I would encourage you all, as Lisa has just given each one of you a copy, in your home when you have time, look at it and study it. It's not what we're teaching in class. Necessarily, it's not that I go there to get my notes. But hopefully there will be some crossover as well. And
Pastor, my sister is watching from Indonesia. Oh.
Do you want to send her one?
I can take a picture and then send it using WhatsApp.
Ah, okay.
She's watching right now.
So we're being watched in Indonesia, and that is a wonderful privilege for us. You know, when we first started videoing this at the beginning of COVID, and at that point I could see who had watched, and I'm trying to remember in those early days when so many things were shut down, we had, I forget if it was 4 or 7 different countries represented watching our live stream, and something like 9 different states people were watching. And of course that has greatly tapered down as people are able to go to church and things are not nearly as constrained. But that got us going, live streaming in any case. But today we're going to go to salt and light once again. We've already talked extensively about the salt, and today we're going to talk about light. Matthew 5:13. This, of course, is in the Sermon on the Mount. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but put it on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Now, light, just a quick dictionary definition, the natural agent that stimulates sight and makes things visible, or a source of illumination. Third, an expression in someone's eyes. Oh, that's a nice illustration of light. Don't you love seeing someone whose eyes just twinkle? Number 4, an area that is brighter than its surroundings. And when we went to Israel, I think it was in 1993, one of the highlights for me on the tour in Israel, I was a little frustrated because the tour we got was just kind of canned in some ways, but the day that we went to the Mount of Beatitudes, and they all lined up to go into this church that had been built as the chapel for the Beatitudes or something, where the Catholics love to build things over there that to me meant nothing. And I saw people, go get in the line, and I thought, I don't want to go in there. So I wandered off and was looking around, and pretty soon, our bus, they all, along with the guide, were over on the side, and our guide got over there, and he said stuff that wasn't his typical. He said, now actually, where Jesus was on that other side of the hill, the valley. And he said it used to be that there was a city up on that top of that hill. And so as Jesus was teaching, he was saying a city that's set on the hill cannot be hidden. Well, what do you know? It's not just, he was using an illustration that they could focus on and understand. And that just rang a bell with me, how that Jesus used the various things as illustrations, and so many things that we see in the Bible, no doubt were things that he used that were real at the time. The Christian is like a city that's set on a hill. It is elevated above its surroundings, and it shines in the midst of darkness. Those whose lives exhibit the traits of Christ's teaching cannot be hidden. I'll read that last line again. Those whose lives exhibit the traits of Christ's teaching cannot be hidden. But what's the source of our light? Oh, yeah, it's not me. I'm not that bright. Those of you who are chuckling, are you telling me that you are? John 8:12 says, then Jesus spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. And then in John 12:35, then Jesus said to them, a little while longer the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you. He who walks in darkness does not know where he's going. A week ago, I wouldn't have had this illustration, but this week, having to take care of Sharon 24/7, and with her unable to put any weight at all on her right leg, I'm having to do everything, and it was in the middle of the night, And our lights are, many of our lights are controlled by Alexa. How many of you have Alexa controlled stuff? Nobody? Oh, you people should join the 20th century or the 21st. I just, you know, you just say, Alexa, light on, and the light next to her bed comes on. And you say, Alexa, light off, it goes off. Well, I had finished whatever it was I'd been doing for her there in the middle of the night. And I was walking out, and she said, Alexa, light off. Well, the light went off. And how many thousands of times have I walked from there to that door, and suddenly when that light went off, and my eyes weren't adjusted yet, I was walking into a wall of dark, and I didn't even feel like I could get to the door, even though I should have been able to do it with my eyes closed. The darkness is not knowing where you're going. And then Jesus said in verse 46, I have come as a light into the world, that whoever believes in me should not abide in darkness. Yes, when you don't know Jesus, when you don't have Jesus radiating in your life, you're like I was in the bedroom trying to find my way to the door, and you could run into anything. I could have, I immediately stopped because I knew the glass closet doors were there, and I didn't really want to run into those. And I stopped until my eyes adjusted. And there are things going on in the world that in the darkness you can see that the world today is in darkness, and they're wandering, and they just keep going, and they don't seem to have a clue where they're going. But my point of the question of what's the source, I'm going to get to that. I don't have to jump ahead. Light versus darkness. Who wins? Lisa, you go back there and be ready. Light versus darkness. Who wins?
The light.
Does the dark ever win?
No.
The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. John 1:5. So what do you call this? The dark switch?
Light.
Earlier I had Lisa turn the lights off in here. And so she flipped the dark switch, right? Or do you call it the light switch? There is no dark switch. And maybe it'd be nice, Lisa, just as I'm talking here, just for a couple seconds, show the lights that people have at their places, because we're all the light. You are the light of the world. And when you turn the light on, it changes the atmosphere of everything in the room. Yeah, bring it back, because I just lost everybody's attention with them watching you.
They wanted to be on camera.
Is it pointed right now?
Yeah, it's on you.
When you turn the lights on in a room, it changes everything. It really does. It used to be when I was young, I'd be reading a book or something, and someone older and smarter would say, "Don't you need a light to read that?" "No, I'm fine." Now that I'm older and smarter, I turn the light on for just about everything I do because it facilitates all that I do. Now my question, if you turn the light on in the room, like Lisa just did, and it affects us. My question is, when you walk into a room, how do you affect the atmosphere in that room? Of course, I have preacher attached to my name, but many times throughout the years, I've walked in a room and suddenly the vocabulary changes. Don't say that, pastor's here. And then they say that about you. Oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't talk this way. Or maybe they're imbibing something that they say, oh, the pastor would never do that. I did. Or they see that I'm at the door even. Change TV channels. And I don't want to be the illustration here. I want you to be the illustration. How do you affect a room that you walk into? And you're not going to tell me. This is a rhetorical question. I want you to ask yourself. There was a story about somebody, I have no idea who or when or where, but someone was talking about problems of being a Christian in the workplace and how some people resented Christians and that sort of thing. And they asked this one fellow who wasn't saying anything, said, well, how is it for you? What kind of problems do you have in your workplace? And he said, well, I don't know. Nobody knows I'm a Christian. Well, isn't that wonderful? He's not a light. It should be that our light would be something that would cancel out some of their darkness and that should attract them to the light. Not to you, but the light. Because we're like the moon. The moon doesn't give off light. It reflects light. And you and I, let's face it, we should be humble and we recognize that we're not the light, but we need to reflect the light of Jesus. And it should affect everything about our lives so that it's something that attracts others to it because of the darkness they're in. Jesus calls the Christians the light of the world. He spoke of himself as the light of the world. The relationship between these two statements is that Jesus is the source of the light. Christians are the reflection of his light. Their function is to shine for him just as the moon reflects the glory of the sun. John 3:18. He who believes in him is not condemned, but he who does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light. Oh, how many of you have been in a situation where they weren't comfortable with you around because they really do prefer their darkness? How sad. Because their deeds are evil. For everyone practicing evil hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his deeds should be exposed. You can imagine a bank robber in the bank really doesn't want to see a cop right now. And he's about doing evil, and someone is about doing stuff that's evil. They don't really want what they would call goody-goody two-shoes coming in and casting light on their darkness. But he who does the truth comes to the light, that his deeds may be clearly seen, that they have been done in God. And what we're doing is not us putting on a show. It's us letting Jesus shine through us to the darkness of the world. Now, I went and found a picture of a whole bunch of people. I have no idea who these people are or what that event is. It's just a picture I picked off of Google. And I did it on purpose because these little lights that each of you have, I put a few of them on the picture. You see, and the way it turns out, when I took the picture, there's kind of a glow around the individual light that affects the people in that area. And when you're in a situation that maybe you're not in control, maybe it's not your event, but your presence affects those around you, even in ways you don't know. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
But then there's that guy I told you about a minute ago. He's up there in the upper left-hand corner of our picture. There's any glow there. He's not letting his light shine. That's sad. But sometimes people just want to melt in and fit the crowd. And it's okay if nobody knows that Jesus has done anything in their life. He gave his life for us. And we don't even want to admit it. Oh no, we want to be like those three others where the light is disseminated and the others are reaping benefit from it, whether they realize it or not. Now, I kind of stirred around at home, out in the shed and the office and wherever I could think of. And I found some lights at my house. Here's one. If you've been stopped by a cop at night, he might have shined this in your eyes, and he can use it as a baton if he wants, I guess. But there's all kinds of lights. This is one that Sharon and I forgot how to turn it on. There we go. When the lights go out, we immediately run for this little LED battery light. And it's real nice when the lights have gone out. And we look at it and think, boy, we wish we'd had that in Africa when we didn't have lights. And then you've got the kind that it can maybe put it in your window if you're broke down or something. And I think if we do this, yeah, we can even get it to flash. And I have a couple here that look alike, but are they alike? Well, you guys aren't responding. I was ready for a response
colors.
for you.
Wow.
Those are pretty good little lights.
Yeah.
And I assume I probably got them at the toy store Harbor Freight, and a little package.
99-cent store.
And how are they different?
Color. No, one's brighter.
Well, one's blue and one's red.
Yeah. One's brighter too.
Other than that, now,
One's brighter.
is one brighter
The
than
blue's
the other?
brighter. Yeah, when you shine them out, the blue's
Well,
a lot brighter.
Okay, they're both brand new out of the package, but who knows how long I had them in the package. But my point is,
They're the same but different.
red, blue, and someone is from one tribal family and someone is from a different tribal family. Now there I'm using African terms instead of saying ethnicity, but you can make the change. But they're still alike. The color may be different, but the point is to be the light. Sri, you were talking about your country of Indonesia. The light of Jesus is as wonderful there as he is here in the United States. It's the light that counts. And, you know, you can tell I kind of had fun this week looking for lights. This one is, and I get them every once in a while from that company we bought pens from for the glass, and they send me stuff that they want me to buy more for you. And you can tell I haven't bought them. This one says, "Let your light so shine. Happy Father's Day." I did buy that one 2 or 3 years ago for the men. And it's got a keychain on it, and it's a clever little light, you know, if you have your keys out and fumbling trying to get the door open. And then there's one that I think is interesting that I can't demonstrate to you. This is the night light out of my bathroom. It's plugged in all the time. And the instant you turn the lights on in the bathroom, it goes out. And the instant you turn the lights out, it goes on and stays on forever. It's amazing, these little LED things. They're wonderful. And I tried to think of what kind of an illustration that is for us. You know, assuming that it was plugged in now, it would be off because the lights are on. But the instant the lights go off, it comes on and is amazingly bright. Enough that it bothers Sharon in the bedroom. But I still leave it on. But there are situations, there are people who are a light, that when they're in darkness, their light glows. But when they're in a crowd, like we had up there a few minutes ago, they're not the one up front making the speeches and the singing and stuff. They're just there. But when the darkness comes, they begin to shine. And I'm thinking, there may be somebody here this morning or someone watching online. You say, "I'm not a preacher. I was never called to be a preacher." Okay. But when there's darkness, do you come on? Isn't that a wonderful light? And I got one of those that they sent trying to get me to buy them for you. This is a pen like we've given out with the class name on it before. And you click it twice. There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
If you're writing in the dark, it turns the light on and it shows you how to write. Just a very specialized thing. Now, you'll hear preachers got to pick on preachers since I are one. They want everybody to be the same kind of light they are. You've all heard that. They've given you a guilt trip because you're not the kind of personal evangelist they are, or you're not the kind of traveling evangelist, or they want everybody to fit their mold. Well, now, what if everybody was a pen light for signing signatures or whatever, and then they get clicked and they're off, and you got to figure out how many clicks to get it to turn back on. Not everybody is the same light. I deliberately brought all these. Now, some of these that the advertisers send are pretty good. And every once in a while I grab this and use it when I need to see something. It's pretty effective. And there's another one of that type that is a magnet. Well, that's not the right kind of metal. But you attach it and you turn on the light, and it gives you a light where you need it in a particular place.
Some of those might disappear
How
today.
many of you would like to be that light? Well, if it's needed. And then there's one, I'm sure I got this at Harbor Freight. You stick it on the wall as though it was really a light switch,
Those are
and
great.
someone turns it on. It doesn't affect the light in the ceiling, but it gives you light maybe till you can find the real switch. I think this is so neat. I think I bought 2 of them. I've never used either one.
We have one in the hallway.
You do?
Yeah, when the lights go out, that thing is bright.
And I'm trying to watch the clock to remember that.
They're not meeting in July.
Now, I didn't do a trial run with this. Do you know what this is?
A candle. A candle.
What kind of candle?
Birthday
A
candle.
birthday candle. And to have that, you have to, like I said, I haven't tried this out. Okay, it lit. And then you hold it on there. I hope the fire warden doesn't come in. And now, what do you sing?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Okay. And I wonder what I'm doing focus-wise to the poor camera. Isn't that neat? How many of you'd like to be a birthday candle? How long do you think you would last? Until little Johnny, they say, okay, make a wish and blow them all out. And little Johnny goes, you're gone. And some people are those kind of lights. They're a flash in the pan. Maybe they're as short-lived as this match was. Oh, look, lights. But it isn't going to last long. That it really isn't the kind of light that Jesus is asking us to be. Well, there may be something else up here, and this is pretty good, and it works like this, or you can turn it and have it like that. Well, a versatile candle, a versatile light, and we need to be versatile. Sometimes you need to be a spotlight, and sometimes you need to kind of be a floodlight to reveal a situation. And I found a picture of 25 best flashlights. Which one are you? I'm not saying everyone needs to be this one. 4 batteries in there. And I imagine if they were new, it would be pretty bright. I just grabbed 4 batteries that have been around a while. Oh, and there's one more. I call it the Darrell light. What do you call this?
Flashlight.
It's a flashlight. It's what we've always called the flashlight. When we didn't have all these blinking goodies. Maybe I should turn that off. Yeah. This is the Darrell flashlight. That's not going to blind anybody. It's kind of dull and tired and old. And, you know, as I thought about this, I thought that pretty well describes me. But I'm still burning.
Yep. Amen.
And I'm still going. And it may be old-fashioned. And I don't even know if they sell flashlights like this anymore. They don't sell lights like this anymore. But I'm still a light. And I guess I'll ask, anybody here kind of identify with that and say, Darrell, that's me. Yeah. Okay, you don't have to describe it, but I'm still here. And the Lord uses me to be a light in my rather dim fashion. But we always need to be that light. And truth of the matter is, I have been a different kind of light at one time in my life, and a different kind of light in another time in my life, and another kind yet in another time. 1 Corinthians 12:4. This is talking normally about gifts, but I'm going to apply it to the lights this morning. There are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but is the same God who works all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. And the light that you're shining is not just for you, it's for those around you and those that you're in contact with. It's for the profit of all. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Let your light shine. Don't be like that guy who said, oh, I didn't have any problem. Nobody knows I'm a Christian. Whoa. Let your light shine in the type that you are. What kind of light would the Lord have you reflect from the sun? Not the S-U-N, but the S-O-N. The sunlight that reflects from us. Now, I'm going to lose everybody's attention again. You've got these little lights that shine, and supposedly when I bought them, they last 18 hours of blinking like this. I can't guarantee that. But if you find a little slot on the bottom of it, and in each table we have one of these cups with the little paper that came out. You slip that little paper into that slot, and you drop it on the floor. Oh, it's a long ways down there. You slip it into the slot,
Here, Daryl. You can use mine.
and it turns the light off. I succeeded. Now, because of my generosity, I want each of you to feel free to take that home with you. If you want to keep it in your purse and let it keep blinking when you go up to church, then you can tell people what the class was about. Help yourself. But that is how you turn it off in case we saved those little papers in that cup, hopefully, and you can turn your light off. I'm not saying turn the light of Jesus off, but that little irritating blank light. Now we're going to sing a famous old-time church hymn, one that we probably should have a pipe organ to accompany, I suppose, but we'll do it a cappella. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Jesus gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Won't let Satan it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let Satan it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let Satan it out, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine all over Fair Oaks, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine all over Fair Oaks, I'm gonna let it shine. Sunshine all over Fair Oaks, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Are you going to let your light shine this morning? Are you going to remember that you are a light? You're not the sun. You're the moon that reflects the light of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, that you chose us to be your lights in the world, that we can bring the light of your salvation to anyone who will call upon your name. And Lord, may we indeed reflect your glory in whatever area of calling you have called us. And may we shine in such a way that they will see your glory and your light. In Jesus' name.